There's this phenomenon called frequency illusion, in which sometimes you acknowledge something for the first time and then you see it everywhere. In this video, I'm gonna show you a camera quality blind test that you got to vote on my Instagram. And some of the cool features that makes these Oppo phones my smartphones of choice for a year now. Yeah, I'm Henry. In this channel I help you with the tech tools to be creative. And today we've got 3 different models of smartphones. We're putting an Oppo Find X3 Neo against the Samsung S21 and an iPhone 12. We're taking a variety of shots, and you can pause the video whenever you want to take a deeper look at each photo, choose yours, mark it down, and you're gonna know the answer right after. And between one test and the other, we're gonna talk also about some features that you find on these guys over here. So first test was fairly simple and something that we all do all the time, portrait mode. And in this mode, the smartphone is trying to trick our brains into thinking it's a much more expensive camera and lens system by recognizing what's the subject and blurring the background in the way that it should be in reality. Now, here are the contenders. Pause the video if you want, take a deeper look, and choose yours. And the results come in 3, 2, 1. Now, in these kind of pictures, you pay attention to 2 different things. The first one is if the cutout of the person was done perfectly, and all of the models did it pretty well. And the second one is how the phone understands the depth in the picture. Fairly tight result, but the first point goes to the iPhone. The phone on this blind test is the Oppo Find X3 Neo, which is the mid-range of the last series from Oppo. And the other phone you're going to be seeing footage and images throughout this video is this one here, which is the Oppo Find X5 Lite, which is the lower end on the new X5 series. And Oppo is trying to do something similar to what Samsung and Apple are doing by having 3 main phones. In the new X5 series, you get the Lite, you get the X5, and the X5 Pro. Backlit photo. Now, this is a difficult situation for any kind of smartphone. You had to choose if you're going to expose for the subject or try to find an average between the subject and the bright background. And in this test, we had 2 phones going head to head and one that was totally left behind. So here are the 3 shots for you to pick your winner. Time to choose. Let's see the results in 3, 2, 1. Now, as you can see, the Samsung was totally left behind. And I think this was probably because it allowed a little bit of the glare from the background to dominate the scene, making the face having this unnatural glare and losing a little bit of the contrast. Oppo and Apple were close to each other, but on this one, Oppo takes the point. Now, just for extra context, this has also been my experience throughout this whole year, not only on that photo. The Oppo phones deal really well with different kinds of luminosity situations, and very often they choose what I would choose also. The only situation in which I see that they struggle a little bit more are on selfies. But for that, all you need to do is control the exposure on the screen, and the results are pretty good. Apart from the wannabe model in this picture, but the picture quality is pretty good. Oh, and what about the eternal battle, iOS or Android? And if Android, which variation is better? Oppo uses ColorOS, and with it you get some pretty sick features, like this notification light when the screen is off, very cool transitions, icons, and fluidity when moving things around. And you get also this small sidebar to open things really quickly, and also dragging them, you can open them as windows. Dynamic range. So for this category, I grouped 2 different tests we made. The first one is shooting from the dark into the bright open. Remember to pause if you want to take a little bit longer look, because these are very similar. Let's see the result in 3, 2, 1. And now here the result was quite funny because Apple had a massive disadvantage. And all I can sincerely notice is that it was a little bit more desaturated in comparison to the other 2. But that's about it. For the second dynamic range test, we have this shot that has this light and shadow play passing through the arches. Pick yours. Alright, let's see it in 3, 2, 1. And as you can see here, we had Oppo and Apple head to head, and Samsung was left behind a little bit. I imagine this result was also because a little bit of the glare that comes from the outside and takes away a little bit of the contrast of the image. And while Apple and Oppo had very similar results, Oppo tried to reduce the luminosity from the sky a little bit more. As you can see, it's the only one that actually has a blue sky, but at the cost of causing some fringing. You can see these small purple lines around the contour of the trees and everything. But it's a choice, because without zooming in, you don't really notice that much. And Apple tried to control it a little bit more, but had a little bit more yellowish hues than the normal orange ones in the scene. Now, one of the features that totally changed my relationship with these smartphones was the battery. Carrying always a power bank with me and charging the phone over the night seemed to be something normal, but it was very fun to discover that while now Apple and Samsung don't even send chargers with the phones, Oppo sends this brick of a charger, and this is because it supports 65 watts charging, which means you can literally go from 0 to 100% in a little bit over 30 minutes. So it changed everything, because even if I have only 10 minutes on a rush to go out, I put it to charge and I still recover 30 to 40% of the battery. Color and detail tests. Now we got a triple color and detail test, wide, medium, and close-up. And for this one, we just found a very convenient fruit and vegetable shop. So let's begin with the wider shot. Pick your winner. Let's see the results in 3, 2, 1. And the result of this one is something that also happened in the other two tests. Two brands going head to head and one totally left behind. In this case here, it was the Samsung that went nowhere. And Oppo took the trophy on this one with very vivid colors and detail. Next up, we got a medium tomato shot. And here the story kinda repeated itself, with Samsung staying behind and Oppo taking the win. But in my opinion, this was quite confusing because I thought the Samsung shot was actually pretty good, and I thought the details on the Apple one, like these chilies over here, was a little bit too crispy and weird. But anyways, that's the beauty of the blind test. You just pick the one that you like the most and don't pick the one that you really don't like. The public has spoken. Now for the close-up flower shot. And let's see the results in 3, 2, 1. And once again, Oppo for the win and Samsung way behind. But this one really needs a little bit more peeping into it. Let's take a look. So mainly the way that I chose, and most of the people did, was seeing that the Samsung shot wasn't as sharp and nice as the other two. And now being between the Oppo and the Apple shots, you just see that they gave a little bit of a different blur to the image. The Oppo begins to blur the flowers on the back and fades nicely into the background. While in the Apple shot, almost all the flowers in the foreground are in focus and only the background is a little bit out of focus. So I guess this fading just feels nicer to the viewer. Now another feature that I love and that I cannot live without anymore are the smart shortcuts. If I need to take a really quick shot of something, the phone comes off my pocket, I draw an O on the locked screen, and boom, the camera is on. If I need to turn on the flashlight, just draw a V. And these are customizable. You can actually create whatever you want to open whatever app you want. Wanna take a screenshot? 3 fingers on the screen, scroll it down, screenshot done. And if you wanna capture more than what you can see in the screen at once, just press this button and it's gonna roll down and make a very long screenshot for you. A quick double tap on the screen, facial recognition, and it's unlocked. And if you do a triple spin, up and down, double tap, then it projects a movie for you. No, I'm kidding. The ultra-wide camera on the smartphones is always my favorite. And here you're seeing a shot inside a very cool cheese and ham shop here in the center of the city. Let the voting start. And results in 3, 2, 1. Now on this one, Oppo took it home with some very good contrast, detail, and punchy colors. The Apple one also got really good detail, but still maintaining this yellowish hue in comparison to the others. You can see by looking at the tiles on the ground. Now video mode on these phones have very cool features that are a little bit hidden. Like for example, shooting with the frontal and the back cameras at the same time. The 4K videos from these phones is very sharp. And if you've seen any other video on this channel, you saw that I'm very comfortable with mixing in some videos with the phone. Especially to show a little bit of the backstage and moments that you need to be super fast or you need to keep it hidden a little bit. And also, I always use the phone as an external monitor connected to the USB-C on the camera. So if you're very serious and enthusiastic about it, you can use the Cine mode that just fills the whole screen just like you have a proper cinema camera in your hands. It's so much fun to shoot like this, and you have all the controls really close to your thumb, which makes it very easy to do. Now the last test on the blind test is exactly about video, and in this case, stabilization. I'm gonna put the 3 clips here on the screen, and you just pick whichever you think is more fluid and stable. You can watch and rewatch many times if you think you really need to find a difference. Okay, did you cast your vote? Let's see the results in 3, 2, 1. I sincerely think all of them performed really well. The ultra-wide angle is always a little bit easier to stabilize than the others. The more you're zoomed in, the more you're gonna need some stabilization to keep it steady. And on the Oppo phones, you have this ultra stabilization option that crops in just a little bit, but it's totally worth it, especially in situations in which you really have to walk over something that it's not that flat. Now to wrap it up, and probably you noticed already, the champion of this blind test is Oppo. Now, if an Oppo phone is going to be perfect for you, it depends on your answers throughout this test, but at least it's definitely something you should consider, especially because it's usually about 150 to 200 euros or dollars cheaper than its direct competitor from the other brands. Well, that's it for today. If you have any comments or questions, just pop them in the comment section below. And if you want to learn a little bit more about the Oppo phones, just check the link in the description. And I know you won't forget it because now you're gonna be seeing it everywhere. Hey, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see something else cool, just check this video over here, in which I teach you 5 very cool tips about mobile photo editing. See you over there. Ciao!